Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Citizens of Lorcana podcast, a podcast where we invite you to be a part of their world. We're your hosts, James and Adara. Today, we are talking with a cozy content creator team, the minds behind Live, Laugh Lorcana, Katie and Becky. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another week. Last week, we had a chance to visit with Lorcana villains, so if you haven't listened to that yet, check it out. At the very least, go check it out for the evil laugh. This week, we are talking with our friends from Live, Laugh Lorcana, Katie and Becky. Hey, welcome.
Hey.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Of course. You guys are just like taking the Lorcana world by storm, so we had to have you on. So, Adara, why don't you kick it off with the conversation?
Absolutely. So I've had the great pleasure to meet you guys before and recording for Live Laugh Lorcana. So awesome to see you guys again. But I was hoping that you would both tell us a little bit more about like just the story behind like creating Live Laugh Lorcana. Like what made you guys want to do that and just like the process of that.
Yeah, totally. So the podcast was actually my idea. I had been playing TCGs for a while before Lorcana was announced, and I was like so excited when I heard there was going to be a Disney TCG because I'm like, yes, Disney IP, it's going to bring in so many women. So I was really excited for that. And then I think it was around the time that Gen Con happened and the pictures from Gen Con came out, and I was like, a little bit disappointed because so many of the pictures were like mostly male, and I was just like imagining like a young girl seeing those pictures and thinking about playing Lorcana and kind of being like, I don't know if I'll fit into that group. So I really wanted to see like more female representation. So like I texted Becky like totally out of the blue. We never talked about her playing Lorcana before. I just like sent her a text like, will you start a podcast with me for Lorcana? Yeah, and I have no TCG background. So I asked Katie, I'm like, do I need to know stuff? And she's like, no. And I was like, I am there because Katie and I are very close, but we never really had like a thing we could do together. And like she's busy a lot with work. I have kids, and so it's really just been like a thing we could do together, which was really special, and we've really been enjoying it. We kind of came in with like no expectations because like we didn't know what the show was going to be, anything about that. But it's been a lot of fun.
I think that's the best part is being able to do it together, and the fun part. Because
Yeah,
if it's not fun, why do it, right?
exactly.
I love hearing like these just completely random stories and like how people are so different in like their journey to come to create content. Like some people have like thought a lot about it and like written out plans and like tried to find people. And this is just a hey, want to do this. I love it.
I think Becky's is the most unique because it's, do I need to know anything? No. Okay, I'll do it.
And then there was the moment of panic when she said yes, and I had to follow through. But
So, as I mentioned, that you guys are like really catching on with everyone, and so a lot of people are really clicking with your content. What do you think the secret sauce is?
oh, that's so nice of you to say. I don't know how true that is, but if I had to guess, me and Becky in our podcast, like we're very raw. Like I feel like we're a little rough around the edges. I think we keep it very honest. And like if you look at most of the other like Lorcana content creators who are also wonderful, they're very polished. Like it seems like they know everything about Lorcana and like they just seem like experts all the time. And I think not everyone can relate to that if they're like very new in this space. So maybe that's kind of my hope that maybe new people are able to connect with our experience. And also, I think it helps that we don't take ourselves too seriously. And I feel like the sister dynamic is very unique because um we're not afraid to like roast each other or call each other out or like and we feel like we can say anything to each other. We don't have to worry about stepping on toes, and I think that makes a fun dynamic.
It's a
Yeah.
super fun dynamic. And I think the other dynamic that really plays off of that is the fact that, you know, Katie, you have some TCG experience and then Becky, you don't. Like, I love that dichotomy of, I think we get like both perspectives. Like, I think back when we recorded our episode, one of the things we had talked about was like the cost of competitive decks. And like Becky and I were like, oh yeah, like let's do it real cheap. And Katie was like, you don't want to know how much I paid for my competitive decks. And I love having that mix of the experience, and yet that sister dynamic brings it together, and it's a lot more relatable because of that.
Yeah, I think it's just fun listening to you guys, especially like you said, you guys aren't afraid to roast each other. It does sound like it's a chance for you guys to just hang out, and there just happens to be Lorcana content happening while you're hanging out. So I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people are enjoying listening to you and connecting with you guys.
Yeah, I also sometimes joke that Katie's like Conan and I'm like Andy Richter, and I'm just like there in the corner, like, yeah, and like throwing zingers. That's my main contribution.
Don't undersell yourself. You contribute. Well, to kind of pivot away from content for a minute, we had the big announcement on the competitive circuit being a thing, and a little bit more specifics, though we're still waiting on dates and stuff like that. So I wanted to pick your guys' brain about just like, what are your thoughts on the competitive circuit that's going to be starting for Lorcana now that we've had like a little bit of time to think about it and mull it over since the initial announcement?
So maybe because of all the hype, like on Twitter and social media and stuff like that, I think I was expecting like a big announcement where we're going to get like tons of details and all this stuff. Um, so I felt a little underwhelmed when it was just like a press release. I'm like, we'll give you details in March. And that was just totally like missed expectations on my part.
Yeah, there's always these days the announcement of the announcement, never
Right.
the actual announcement first.
That's good to know, because I was just like, let's do this. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I share those expectations, Becky. Like I was like, oh, surely they're going to like announce it all in one big lump. Like they said they needed time. That's why they're waiting. I definitely identify with the missed expectations there.
To be fair, there was information. It just wasn't all the information, and
Correct.
it wasn't super detailed, but it was information. So I mean, like, so now transitioning from competitive to casual, this was all about competitive, and since the beginning of the game back in August, it's been themed towards casual, but it doesn't necessarily always been casual. So what would you guys like to see? Any changes to how like League plays or anything about the casual scene? What would you like to see for that now that we have what we know the competitive scene is going to look like?
I feel like I don't know what a casual scene would look like, or like a fan event. Like maybe because I don't have much TCG experience. Like I don't even know what my options are. Katie.
Well, I actually have been thinking about this a lot more like at the local level, honestly. Because what I'd really like to see is more stores supporting two nights for Lorcana, or like two types of events for Lorcana, because I think like competitive and casual players approach the game very, very differently. And we're, at least for our local scene, those groups are being kind of forced together. And I think competitive players have like a way of like naturally pushing casual players out. And I'm like not putting competitive players down, because like to be honest, I'm more on that side. But I do think they can create a situation where casual players feel like, oh, I don't belong here, I'm not good enough for this. So I think if we can like actually, if they can develop really good like weekly competitive events, then the league can actually stay more casual, where people are playing theme decks instead of meta decks, and like multiplayer more, and like excited to teach new players. So like at least at a local level, that's what I would love to see.
Yeah, I think multiplayer is such a big thing that's missed out on a lot of local places. Like I did my first multiplayer game. I think it was actually right before we went down to Miami in October. I just hadn't done multiplayer, and I did it and I fell in love with it. Like it is my favorite way to play casually with other people. I think there's something about the multiplayer format, at least at like my local game stores, that like we come together, and all of a sudden it doesn't particularly matter what deck you're playing. We are all just kind of like excited to be in a group together, and we're all like poking fun at each other. And I think it's a huge missed opportunity that I push for multiplayer games anytime I'm with other people at my game store, of like, hey, like there's 3 people here, rather than like you having to sit out and wait for another person to finish. Do you just want to do a 3-player game? And I've done 3, 4, and 5. 5 is a little big. I think 3 or 4 is the sweet spot there, but I'd love to see more of that, like directly encouraged.
I've never gotten the opportunity to play multiplayer, and I always get excited when I see cards where I'm like, oh, this would be so good for that. And then like I never get to touch them.
We need to like set up a webcam game. We need to get you to play multiplayer.
That would be anytime. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
It's definitely a problem at the local level. I've played at, I think it's 5 or 6 different stores in the area, and there's only one store that offers both a competitive day and a casual day. And so I think it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. But until I think the real competitive scene is actually up and running, I think a lot of stores are just defaulting to what their player base wants, which a lot of them just want to build the best decks and go for it. And I think that this game is one that should be and is going to be bringing in more casual people. And so I think a lot of game stores need to be cognizant of that and try and actually have the space for those casual players.
Yeah, and I know we had talked about the fan events before. I also have zero idea what those are going to look like, especially with like their announcements related to the competitive side of things. I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to related to that like gives me hope as a more casual player, is that it sounds like they're planning on at very least like the worlds in 2025, that like other people can attend it even if you aren't playing in it. So I think that has a chance to like appeal to a little bit more of the casual side. Maybe not like you're probably going to have to travel a far way to go to Worlds, so you're not necessarily casual from that perspective. But like, as somebody who struggles to feel like I ever have a chance of qualifying to get to something like that, like it gives me excitement that like I can participate in it in that way as well.
Yeah, same. I'm like so excited to go to Worlds. Like I want them to start like announcing dates and like locations so I can start planning out like budget and PTO and stuff.
I know, right? It's going to be a huge event. So speaking of the casual scene, you guys tend to create content that has the casual player in mind. So how has that like been going for you both?
That's funny. That's like a hard question to answer because I think you're right. We do create it with casual player in mind. We kind of like talked about what our target audience is, and it's like women, minority genders, new players, casual players. But I would, and that's actually why we created the Discord. We have a Discord server for our podcast, and a big part of that reason is because we thought people who liked our show would be people who aren't like comfortable in normal TCG spaces. But it's so funny because like the majority of our listeners are competitive slanted males, like probably over 50%. But I think, yeah, it was a surprise. Like we've been really surprised at the people who listen to our podcast. But I think those people are people that really want to make a better experience for those groups. And like we've seen that in the ones that have joined our Discord, like they're always like the first to answer a new player question, and they don't tell them to go look it up. They give like a very thorough, like kind answer, which is really great.
Yeah, I love our Discord. Our competitive guys are such sweethearts, and I feel like they're such like allies to like, we want more diversity. We want everybody to be comfortable. And we have like a lot of really good conversations in there. But I feel like also maybe if competitive content is not very accessible for casual players, casual content seems to kind of transcend the community. So I feel like also competitive players have like mentioned to us that it's like interesting and beneficial for them to hear kind of quote unquote the other side of and like how casual players are interpreting things and stuff like that.
I'm just shocked and like you guys run a Discord. Jared and I talked about that and we're like, we do not want that amount of work. Because we're like, we have like, he has like, just because like he's not here, he has a job that keeps him away a lot and he can't be at a computer. So I mean, that's one thing that I definitely give props to you guys for actually running that Discord and having a place for people to come and hang out and chat. Do you feel like a lot of casual players, like you mentioned that there's, like I said, there's a lot of listeners are the competitive males, but do you feel like you're getting those casual players seeking out your content a little bit more over time? And is there something, maybe other types of content that you would like to see that casual players maybe would be able to latch onto?
Yeah, I definitely think we've seen more casual players over time. I think at the beginning it was like almost all competitive players, even in our Discord server, but we've definitely seen like more casual players. And I think that kind of like leads into like maybe competitive players seek out content more regularly because maybe they're looking to get better and, you know, so they're taking in like anything they can consume. But yeah, I would definitely love to see more casual content. As for what I'd like to see with casual content, I'm thinking about for Magic the Gathering, there's something called game nights where it's like they play like casual games, multiplayer games of Commander, and I say casual because it's usually like it's like theme decks. It's not like meta decks, but they'll have all these like interesting edits and they'll do like voiceovers, like almost like a reality show, like like telling them how they like feel in that moment. Like I think that's super fun. I would love to see something like that.
For sure. I consider myself a casual player and I do not listen to much competitive content like at all. My favorite sort of thing is memes. I feel like memes also everybody loves them. Competitive, casual, we can all enjoy that. And I feel like short form video media like TikTok, Reels and stuff are really really good for casual content. I feel like Rebecca from the Illuminary, she like is the piece de resistance of that's not what I'm looking for. What am I looking for? She's like the pinnacle of what casual content I really feel like is, you know?
Yeah, pushing out the fun side of the game and making sure people know that it's a game
Yeah.
to play without having to worry about getting knocked down like by the meta deck. I mean, like I said, a lot of people don't even go out and search for that content, so they may not even know that there's stuff out there to help them enhance their enjoyment of the game just by looking up like, okay, I have these cards, what's the best way I can put them together just so I can actually have, you know, not feel bad playing the game. So I mean, I don't even, like I said, how do you get that into the mindset of people who are casual players? How do you get into their world to let them know that there's this content that they can see to help them out in that, even if it's just to help them out to play the game in maybe in different formats, or like you said, in the game nights where you can give them ideas for, you know, play a 4-player game where everyone, their key card is like a different princess or whatever it may be. I mean, there's got to be something that that as content creators we can do to direct them and reach out to them. But I'm like I said, memes and short little videos and highlighting the art, because I know everyone loves, you know, pretty pictures. So highlighting the art's one way that we can get that out there. And I mean, there's a lot of things we can try, but you just have to get into those worlds where people may see it and they're like, oh, I'm interested in that, and then find people like you guys who are like, okay, here's what the casual scene is like. But I don't know really what other ways we can do it until really, honestly, Ravensburger starts advertising and Disney start advertising the game more to where more and more people see it that are not just like zoned in on the TCG space.
Yeah,
Most
that's a great
definitely.
point.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the YouTube videos that have the most views right now, like they're all like meta analysis and deck techs and like that kind of stuff. But that I do think part of that is just a reflection of most of our community is more competitively slanted right now. So that'll change.
I have to think so because, again, they're not advertising. So unless you know about it, you don't know about it, like unless you were hearing about it in a competitive environment, most likely, like you don't know it exists. So I'm hoping that will change as well, and we'll get like a nice influx of casual players.
And honestly, I mean, really, with the only going to conventions and stuff is nice, but again, those are conventions geared towards game players, usually hardcore game players, or at least semi-serious game players, not casual game players. And the only convention that they went to where there was a lot of non-game players was D23, and no one could get the stuff. So I mean, it was like, oh hey, yeah, that's a thing I can make money on at D23, and then when they didn't, it's like out of mind. They didn't think about it again, I would assume. So there was a lot of Disney fans at this D23 convention where it was just like, that's that thing over there, and then moved on to the rest of their day. So they definitely need to get it into the minds of more Disney fans who are not playing games.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like you mentioned before, like especially Disney fans gonna love the art. They're gonna love that. They're gonna love cosplay. I mean, like Disney bounding is huge. I just feel like that's for sure a great gateway.
Oh, I can't wait to see how many people cosplay at D23 with
It's gonna
with
look cool.
Lorcana card versions of characters. I can't wait to see people do that.
Yeah.
You need to ask to take pictures when you come across these people, please, for the sake of the community. Ask to take pictures of the cosplayers.
Definitely.
But I was just gonna point out as well, I think our the Lorcana community is definitely slanted towards competitive, a large part because of the product availability. I think the beginning product was essentially between the investors and collectors and the competitive players, because there was people who were trying to get cards to play in events that were being planned and stuff like that. And so your random person who's coming into the little local game store to maybe look at puzzles, when they go to check out, they're not seeing these Disney card packs hanging up on the wall behind the register because they didn't exist. And we're starting to hit a point around my area where stuff is finally starting to sit on shelves. Maybe not a bunch of cards, but starter decks are sitting on shelves and the deck boxes are sitting on shelves. And so even just in the one night a week that I get to go to this one game store, I hear people come in, they're not looking for Lorcana, and they'll see the stuff and they'll ask, oh, what's this? That's Sisu from Raya and the Last Dragon, or oh, that's Elsa. What is this? And it's those kinds of things that are going to get those people to come in on the casual side, because all of a sudden now you're seeing these, you're asking about it, and that's kind of your intro. And then I think as people continue to come to local scenes, I love calling out content creators of if you're just looking for some fun listens during the week, go listen to these people. Also, my favorite meme Twitter account, and I can't remember their handle right now, but it's the googly eye cards. So person who
Glimmers.
There we go.
Friend of the show. Can you believe?
Oh man, I love it. I saw it. I love the flounder memes. Jared, don't kill me. But the Google glimmer, the googly eye cards was just genius, and I love it. And it increases my appreciation and enjoyability of the game for sure.
I totally agree. I remember he pitched it in the Discord, and we're like, yes, absolutely. We didn't know we needed it, but we need it.
Yes. I need to at some point collect the pictures of all of these cards as googly eyes. It's gold. It's gold. So one question we always like to ask content creators who come onto the podcast is just, what is a piece of advice you would each give to aspiring content creators, either in the Lorcana scene or just in general, people who are thinking maybe I want to get into content creation. I'd love to hear a piece of advice from each of you.
So I feel like we don't know what we're doing. like we don't have experience making content, editing video, anything. We don't know anything really. um, so I have to say, like, don't be scared. Just try it. Just like go for it. You know what I mean? Like it's really like a fairly easy entry kind of thing. Like just do it. Just do it. You know what I mean? Like
I love that.
Yeah, this is the hardest question to answer because you guys have had so many good answers on the pod the last 3 weeks. It's ridiculous. But what I'll say is try to find a way to connect with people who consume your content. So whether that's on Discord or Twitter or Instagram, just like getting the reactions, asking them questions, seeing how they're feeling about things will like give you so much information to guide your content. Like I'm laughing, James, because like you are like complimenting us for running the Discord. Like it is not hard to run the Discord. The only person I've ever had to reprimand was Becky. She like everyone in there is nice and wonderful. Like they're so friendly, and like we don't even write our own shows anymore. They just ask us questions and we answer them. Like it's just I didn't realize how impactful an online community could be until we started doing this podcast. Like just any way you can take advantage of the great online community, do it.
Yeah. So what you're saying is we should start a Discord.
I'd recommend it, honestly.
Oh. Well, Jared does have his Twitter that everybody interacts with. So I mean that's pretty good. And
it's true.
And he does all the work. So I'm happy.
yeah.
One of the questions I wanted to ask about is you're both competing in the Glimmer Gang's Glimmer Gauntlet. Are you guys like prepping for that? Are you just like, whatever, we'll play it when we get there, or what? What are you guys doing for that?
Great question. So just for anyone who doesn't know, the rules of the Glimmer Gauntlet are you can only use rare or lower, and you get like assigned an ink pairing. So the main way is once I get my ink pairing, I'm just gonna play as many games with that ink pairing as I possibly can, because I think there's a lot to be said just for getting reps in and like knowing your deck really well, because then those like decisions become second nature. But I'm scared though, I'm not gonna lie, because it's like most of the people I'm gonna be playing against are gonna be using super rares in legendaries, so it's like a meta I'm totally unprepared for. I might try to get my husband to play test with me, but yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Wait, they're all going to be using rares and lowers too, right?
Not if she's doing reps,
well,
like
not the
online,
testing though,
or
yeah,
with other
Yeah,
people. Like people
well,
are
I mean,
not gonna
just ask for people to do custom games or something on the Discord, right? See if people have time.
I don't
That's
know
a
if we're
great
allowed
idea.
to, but we should ask. So I know our pairings or like our ink pairs are supposed to be secret. What are you doing to prep, Adara?
I will say the ink pairings are not public yet. That's going to be part of another announcement. I've this is so bad. I've honestly just been sitting here thinking, like that's what I've done to prep so far. I think the biggest thing besides like kind of keeping an eye on like what is my card pool that I can pull from with rares and lowers, especially like as we get new cards revealed. I'm definitely paying attention to when they're a rare or lower card. I think the other thing is I like to try to have all the information, which can lead to difficulty as our card pool continues to get bigger in a TCG. I can't think of like, oh, well, what cards could this person have that I need a counter to? Like, I can't do that. However, it is totally doable for me to look at what super rares and legendaries are not going to be able to be played in the format. Like, those are huge. So, like, thinking that, like, if I'm playing against a steel pairing, steel can't use Tinkerbell, the Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, and steel can't use Whole New World because Whole New World is also a super rare. So, two of like the meta cards for steel right now are like out of I don't have to worry about them. And so I kind of want to know like what are those like heavy hitters that, you know, a lot of those meta decks currently play that are those super rare or higher, because those are going to be like the big things that like if you don't have to work around those, that could lead itself to strategies. but I'm going to spend most of my time building my deck, most likely. I am not super familiar with deck building, but I'm looking forward to getting a chance to do it once we know all the set 3 cards.
For sure.
Wonderful.
Because I've built about 3 decks, and each one kind of like leans into something specific, and I just need to play more with it. But it is okay. I feel like last set we got spoilers, like very early, and now that I need them, they're not coming.
They are not.
Because the new set comes out like 2 weeks before, we have to play our first game, and like
In a month. Like the next set comes out in a month. Like
Yeah.
it's the 23rd of February. It is about a month away.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna be scrambling. I don't know how it's gonna go.
So you guys get to use new cards in the decks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Oh.
up through set 3.
That makes it interesting.
It does.
It's what they picked their dates around. So it's the dates were chosen specifically to include set 3.
Wow. That's going to be rough because, like I said, if not a bunch of cards are revealed by that point, then only those inks that have some locations are going to be able to use them if they don't have a location in every ink. Interesting. That's going to be so for some fun. Now, of course, so many of the key cards for Ruby Amethyst deck are all rare and lower. So I wonder if they're actually going to avoid giving anyone the Ruby Amethyst pairing.
Somebody is gonna get it.
Somebody.
I know. Well, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, is Ruby Amethyst still OP even when you take out super rares and legendaries?
Yes.
It's still viable.
It is.
Crap.
It's really good.
Yeah, all the key cards you need just to do the loops and everything are still there. So you just lose some of the control stuff is all. You still have removal. Yeah, it's no good. Whoever gets that is going to be like, I got it, no problem. And then you all have to beat them, whoever that is.
I know. Of course we want to win, but part of me's like, if I lose to a really good pairing, I can be like, oh well, not my fault. Can't beat Ruby Amethyst.
I think it's been awesome to see. I was not expecting that you guys were going to be in it until they announced it, and that just made that just totally warmed my heart because, like you said at the beginning, Katie, being I was at Gen Con and I was at those starter deck tournaments, and it was a little rough. I certainly wasn't the only woman, but there was not a lot of people around there. The people hanging around there were mostly the competitive guys. And so to see so many women participating in the Glimmer Gauntlet, it just warms my heart of yes, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It's almost half and half, which
Yeah.
A 50-50. We don't see that, in the wild.
It's almost like real life, right?
Yeah.
Actually representative of the population.
Oh, I'm hoping a lady takes it for sure.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into the ending segments. We have a few new cards we can talk about, some really fun ones.
Yes.
We got, we got the nephews. We got Huey, the savvy nephew at 2 cost, 2/2 with 1 lore and support, and the ability 3 nephews. Whenever this character quests, if you have characters named Dewey and Louie in play, you may draw 3 cards. That's fun. That's
rare.
A lot of fun playing a nephews and ducks deck.
Yeah, I want to build that deck for sure.
And then the next nephew, Dewey, showy nephew at 3 cost, 2/3 with 2 lore and support. That's all. No extra ability, but you get him into play, and of course, then the other ability takes effect. And then at 4 cost, it's right on curve. Interesting. Louis, the chill nephew, at 3/4 with 2 lore and also support. And so we have these that are 2, 3, 4 right on curve with some good lore, some support. And we've already seen an Uncle Scrooge at 5 cost, who, when banishes, lets you play an item for free, and all that support may make it really easy to banish a character. That's pretty fun.
What do you guys think about the nephews being released?
very excited about it. Huge DuckTales fan. So super cute. The art is adorable. I love their abilities. Um, I would love a duck deck. And I mean, we have a blue Donald as well. Not like the best Donald, but a Donald. So I very excited about that. Very cool. If
Yeah,
you
I'm the
do,
same way. No, I love making little mini games in my deck. So like the mini game of like getting all three of the nephews out at the same time. I'm like so excited for it.
Yes. So I don't think Scrooge is Amber, isn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah. I was gonna say you would lose Scrooge, but if you put it with Emerald, you would get the Donald and the Daisy that are in Emerald as well.
Yeah,
So you could build out a little bit more of the duck deck with that. But
sure.
I was pretty excited about them. I haven't seen a lot of the newer DuckTales, like the reboot that they did. I've seen enough to know that this is like this art style slants a little bit more towards the newer ones than the traditional, which I grew up on the traditional ones. But I love the art's just beautiful, and I love the lore behind it as well. So we didn't say what their flavor text is, but like they're all referring to like these three crystals that it seems like they've tried to get that um Huey says this looks like part of a larger crystal. So I love the little bit of lore there, and it looks like they're in this like ink cavern, and I'm a sucker for the lore of Lorcana, and so I love seeing how I think a lot more cards this set have had more of that lore aspect to them.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely is the more modern DuckTales art, which is interesting because I feel like the Scrooge kind of is as well, but then on previous sets, the Donald and Daisy are a bit more traditional. So I like seeing the variety.
Yeah.
And people were looking at the items laying around in their art, and I know that people showed screenshots of like the helmet in Louis is everyone's like, is this Tron or Daft Punk or something? And it's like, it's a helmet that they were wearing in one of the episodes, and the sword behind him is also from one of the episodes. So I think it's just fun that they're throwing in things from the actual episodes, even though these are Dreamborn versions. So I think that's pretty cool.
Very
All right, we
fun.
had one more card revealed, and this is a new location in Emerald, and it's a 4 cost card with 6 willpower and 2 ink cost to move a character here, and it is Fang, the River City, and it has 2 lore and the ability surrounded by water. Characters gain ward and evasive while here. So, what do you guys think of this card?
That is spicy. And as a rare, like, are we going to see super rares and rare legendaries? Because if so, I'm not ready for it.
What do you think, Katie?
Oh, it's so good. Like I love Emerald, so I think it's like really, really good to be able to make things evasive like that. At the same time, I've played a lot of Ruby Amethyst though, and I just keep imagining like crashing Maui into it immediately, which is kind of sad, but still very excited for it.
But I mean, you play some Ruby Emerald, and you can play this for free and move Jim Hawkins there for free.
Ooh.
And he then gains ward and evasive, and he's a 4/4, and he has 2 lore. So there's going to be some ways I think that locations are definitely gonna change up the game a bit. And like I said, Maui can just go right into any location we've seen so far and just take it out without any hassle. But that means their Maui is being used for something besides taking down your characters that can quest for some lore or sing some songs or whatever they need to do. So, I mean, you kind of trading off here. It's just one more option you have to do some things in the game, which I think is pretty fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I
I
like
think
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I think Emerald has the new Peter Pan that we saw. Like this was like one of the first
Yes.
reveals that he gains when he moves to a location, he immediately gains the lore that that location would gain. So, like that's looking pretty good.
And you know there's going to be other characters that will be able to do that or actions that will allow you to do that. I mean, we usually see that there's always actions that have some similar abilities to abilities on cards. So I think we got some of those coming.
Yep.
Gonna be fun. Okay, so are you guys up for some Disney Jeopardy?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
All right. So I tried to make these actually increasing in difficulty, and sometimes I get a little overboard and make some really hard ones. So we'll see how this goes. So here we go.
I reviewed them. It's okay.
I'm like, check these out, please. All right, so you guys can both like talk about it and then give your answer. So you guys can. This is cooperative Jeopardy here. So this is the character for 100. This is the character that sings "When You Wish Upon a Star" in Pinocchio.
I mean, Katie, Jiminy Cricket, right?
Yeah. Who is Jiminy Cricket?
Yes, correct. All right, for 200. This is where the 7 dwarves work in Snow White.
The
Is it a specific
Million
mine?
Diamond Mine? Isn't that?
What is that? What it's called?
It is, what is it?
Well,
What it's called? It's a diamond mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is a
I
diamond
would have accepted
mine?
mine.
Oh, okay. What is
Yeah.
mine? Like, does it
But
have
it
a
is
name?
specifically a
Is there a
diamond
sign
mine.
I missed?
It's a mine filled with gems.
Yeah, because I don't think they were all just were they different colors? I always see
They
different
were
colors.
definitely different.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought they were different colors, but in the song they say Diamond Mine, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And like the ones that I think it's Dopey like holds up to his eyes and makes like his giant eyes, like those are diamonds.
Yeah.
Iconic.
All
We're
right.
overthinking it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
For 300. Everyone probably knows that Snow White is the first Disney princess, but this is the second.
Hold on, I need to think.
Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella, I think.
Hold on, I have to think. Oh no, you're right, but I can't remember which. Okay, hold on, Katie. We can think about this. Okay, no,
Think it
Katie,
out.
we're gonna talk it out. Okay,
You go for it.
we're gonna talk it out. So, based on the aesthetics, Cinderella is wearing a very 50s silhouette. And, yeah, and Aurora is not. But the 40s, Disney was kind of rough with like, there were some weirdos thrown in the 40s. I have to think Cinderella's before.
Really? Okay.
You think not?
I would have said Sleeping Beauty, but I trust you.
I don't trust me. You're an idiot for trusting me. Go ahead, you say it.
I'm gonna go with yours.
Who is Cinderella?
Cinderella?
Nice.
Yep, that's correct. I wasn't sure if that one was actually going to be a really confusing one or not, but Cinderella's in 50 and Sleeping Beauty is in 59.
Oh, big gap.
So it is a pretty big gap.
Oh,
All right.
my sister trust fall paid off.
There you go. For 400, The Princess and the Frog is commonly and incorrectly referred to as the last Disney 2D animated film. But this 5th adaptation of the beloved children's story in 2011 is the actual last one. And that's the 5th adaptation of the stories done by Disney, not the overall 5th one done in movies.
Is it a Winnie the Pooh?
That's what I'd have to guess by the number 5.
I don't know what it's called though. Do we need to know specifically? Could it be the Heffalump movie?
Maybe? I can't remember when that was.
I don't know. We were in college. We weren't in our Winnie the Pooh stage. What do you think?
That's the best I got.
Would it be the Tigger movie?
Ooh, maybe. I can't remember which was first.
I don't know.
It's just all you. You have to guess.
Ugh, fine. What is the Tigger movie?
So close. It is actually just Winnie the Pooh.
Ah, dang it! We overthought it again, Katie.
We did.
You were half right because you got the right stories.
That's
okay,
crazy.
One,
I would have never gotten that one. That's so impressive.
I know. I always thought Princess and the Frog was the last, hand-drawn Disney movie, but apparently this was. So this one is for now. Which one of you? I heard, but I forgot. Which one of you just went on a cruise recently?
Oh,
Katie.
that's me.
Okay, and you've been on multiple cruises, right?
Yes, I got married on one.
Oh wow, nice.
Ooh.
So for 500, this is the Disney cruise ship with Rapunzel on the stern.
We can think this through. Okay, Katie. The Wonder is Ariel. The magic is, I don't know if the wonder is Ariel. I know the magic and wonder. One is Ariel. The other one is boop boop. Could it be
I
fantasy?
don't
Could
know
be wonder.
this.
There's only 4 ships, Katie. We can figure this out. There's
There's
5
5.
ships.
There's
The new one is
5.
the Wish, and we haven't been on it or know anything about it. Could that one be Rapunzel?
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
honestly what I'm leaning,
You
even
know
though
what?
there is a huge Tangled presence on the magic, so I'm not sure.
I can't be the magic or wonder. I feel like those were made, like those ships were built before Tangled.
You're right. Okay.
I
Yes.
think go for Wish.
It has the Wish.
What is the Wish?
That is
Wow.
correct. Nice pocketed out there. Well done. All right. See, I wasn't sure if that one was going to be super hard or just kind of hard. So
I think it was
It
the
should
perfect
have
amount
been
of hard.
easy, but
No,
yeah.
it was the perfect amount of hard.
I'm so glad I saw that one. I was like, I think this is the 500 question.
yeah, I had that at 300 at one point, and she's like, move that one to the end. Okay, so thank you both for joining us. This was awesome. And why don't you let everyone know where to find you online?
Be sure to check us out. Oh wait, sorry, I'm doing like our extra. We are on Instagram and Twitter at Live Laugh Lorcana. We have a podcast. That's kind of what we're known for on all your main podcast platforms. And we have a Discord that we talk about all the time. So if you ever want to hang out with us,
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having us. We're so sad we missed Jared, but you guys have been amazing hosts, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
yes.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate you guys coming on. So Adara, why don't you let everyone know where they can reach you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Ochem102. And on Discord, I'm Adara like everywhere. So ping me in the HQ, I am in the Live Laugh Lorcana Discord. So feel free to join and ping me in there. Yeah. How about you, James? Where can they find you?
Well, let me do the podcasty one first. If you've liked what you've heard, click subscribe and follow us on Twitter. You can follow Jared at Citizens of Lorcana. We're available on YouTube and Spotify and all your favorite podcast platforms. And personally, you can find me at Dan Regal, and you can check out Geek Shot Photo for photography links for my wife and I. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.